Hello, folks. Well, behind me is a big car crash, I think, that literally just happened within the last 30 seconds. But that's not important. We are here, you can see all these shops. We are in the Chinatown of Philadelphia. You know, this country is a great place. It allows cultures from all around the world to coexist. It's sort of a rare thing that can happen in the world, where so many different walks of life come together to create a nation like this. So this is just one example. But as you can see, there are so many people. It's also rare that we get to see a place so large like Philadelphia, where there are people on every corner, every street, maybe business owners taking a break, or just people walking around to see what's up in this neighborhood. But this is, I believe, the 5th largest city in the country. So of course there's more than just the neighborhood of Chinatown. There is so much we're going to be seeing today. There have been many chances where I could have visited this great city, Philadelphia, but I abstained because I think I wanted to save it for a special occasion, not just because on the Coverage Project we're all about the smaller places and the less known places. We're also about the places that are well known, but maybe this is the best occasion to do so. We are now done with our major travels for this year, so I wanted to do something a bit special, and I think we're rounding out our 100th location. I think we're in that range where we can sort of celebrate 100 or so locations by taking a grand old look at the great city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. I mean, eventually we're gonna have to visit these places, right? Why not do it when we can? We are in Franklin Square, an iconic park of Philadelphia, and just a few blocks away it seemed like it was misting, but it didn't smell like natural mist. The city is so polluted that maybe the mist is not pure water. It didn't smell right. It's not a great looking day as far as weather, so I guess we can say it's not always sunny in Philadelphia. Alright, let's try to get away from the foul-smelling mist of the Philadelphia streets. So, what do you think of? Because Philadelphia as a city is just such an iconic place. It's a very old city, and it's essentially the birthplace of America, the country as we know it. This is where the Declaration of Independence, our official document of independence, was signed by the Founding Fathers. So as far as tourism goes, the city of Philadelphia really tries to bank on their historical legacy, because after all, this is literally probably the most historic city that there would be for people outside of America to visit if they wanted a sense of where did this country start and how did it bring us to today. You go to Philadelphia. So we now know that all the cool founding fathers like George Washington, John Adams, Ben Franklin, who is from Philadelphia, they all came here to Philadelphia to sign the Declaration of Independence. But where in Philadelphia was our independence officially established? Well, we're about to find out. Alright everybody, do you want to see what we're all waiting for? Welcome to... Hold on, I gotta get a better view. It's always right when I try to show it that there's always bad views, but here we go. There we go, that is Independence Hall. These founding fathers risked their lives. Believe me, the British at the time were the greatest military power in the world, and so crossing the British meant certain death if you lost. So these founding fathers risked their lives to make sure that we today grew up and lived in a free society. So if you visit Philadelphia, Independence Hall is a must-see. Just in this one panoramic shot, you could see the whole history of Philadelphia. First you have these colonial buildings like Independence Hall, and then 100 years later you see the industrial Gilded Age buildings, and then you see the buildings of more recent times today, like these skyscrapers. Just the architecture. The differences, the contrasts in the architecture in this city that you'll find. Pretty indicative of this theme. One iconic landmark that's known throughout not only the country but the world. What about two? What if we can find a second iconic American landmark just in this city? Well, we're in luck. The province of Pennsylvania, before they got independence, needed a state house bell, and so they imported it from England, Britain. By the time it got here, it got a crack in it. They couldn't do much about it, so two people, John Pass and John Stowe, were metal workers, and they decided to recast the bell. Of course, many times that they rang the bell, it cracked. So for a couple times it was recast, then it broke again, recast, cracked again. Ultimately, they were hairline cracks. They weren't thick. But back in the day, a way to fix the bell was to hollow out the crack. So instead of a hairline crack, it would be about an inch or so wide. And that would, restore it. There's also a myth that it was rung on July 4th, 1776 to signify the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. It was actually rung when the Declaration of Independence was first read aloud to the public. It has a long history, namely being hidden in Allentown. We went there and I explained the story, how it was hidden away so it wouldn't be taken away and stolen. The last time that people attempted to ring it was Washington's birthday of 1846. And of course, you know what happened, it cracked, and so they were like, we can't do this. They retired the bell and they left it alone. And today, it stands right next door to Independence Hall in that little building over there. So wouldn't you know, we finally got to see the Liberty Bell, another iconic American landmark. Now, the only reason the Liberty Bell is this superlative landmark of American culture is because later on, during the time of the Civil War, it was passed around for the abolitionist cause all around the country. And so there's more than just the freedom from the British. It's also about freedom for everyone, no matter who you are. I mean, if it wasn't for that, they would have just melted it down for the creation of another bell. Who would want just a broken old bell standing out in the open? Philly being the huge city you and I all know it to be, there is so much more to do in Philly. So much so that I don't even know if we'll get everything done that I want to get done today. So with that said, let's find some other things to see here in Philadelphia. So we are now in the old part of the city, and if you want old, you're gonna get old here. Welcome to Alfred's Alley. This is the oldest continually residentially habited place in the whole country. And so yes, people still live here, just as they did in the 1760s or so. If you want colonial Philadelphia, this is what you're gonna get, folks. If you notice the colonial flags, I mean, maybe that's not colonial, that's just the modern day flag of Philly, but there's a flag I don't really recognize. There's also colonial American flags of the colonies, and it's just so cool. It's like taking a step back in time. In most major cities across the US, you're bound to find some sort of port, especially if it's on the coast. So here in Philadelphia, you can see that there is this beautiful river. Philadelphia is on the southeast part of Pennsylvania, the very southeast corner, and so throughout that corner, you're gonna find this river, the beautiful Delaware, which actually starts in upstate New York and goes down the eastern part of Pennsylvania all the way down to the Atlantic Ocean. We've actually been right by the Delaware River on our trip to Easton, Pennsylvania, if you remember. And this same river, even though it might have been a little narrower, was the same Delaware River that we see here in Philadelphia. So getting back to the ports, all across Philadelphia's eastern and southern boundaries, you'll find this Delaware River where all sorts of ships, boats, even the Coast Guard, you can find on the Delaware River. A lot of the boats and ships will carry cargo, and that's because they're used for commercial purposes, but sometimes you find other types of ships, like the one coming close to us. Or maybe not, I don't know. I thought they were coming close to say hello. Apparently not. Goodbye. See you later. The largest city in the state of Pennsylvania, with a population of over 1.5 million. A size like that really needs a large water supply, and that may just be what the Delaware River is for. Who knows? I'm not a hydrologist, nor am I a civil engineer. I don't know, is this where the city of Philadelphia gets its water? As you can tell, the environment's a lot more busy. Much higher buildings, a lot more people, much more businesses. This is City Hall. For a city that is so large as Philadelphia, of course you need a castle-like complex to serve as a government building. It's only natural. If you notice up there by the clock tower, up there, there's a statue of William Penn. It's kind of hard to see it from this perspective, but William Penn, the founder of not only Philadelphia, but the entire state, the area of Pennsylvania, he's up there to be celebrated and commemorated. There used to be an ordinance that no city building could be higher than the William Penn statue. But a few decades ago, that rule was broken, and now you see all these modern skyscrapers, much taller than William Penn. What a shame. Oh, what do we have here? Albania, Algeria, Angola, Argentina, Armenia. Oh, they're in alphabetical order. All these flags of the world leading up to something. A nice, cool looking thing over there. Just a marvelous city, isn't it? And we're still not done. I have another very iconic place in Philadelphia that we just have to go to. There's just so many things that we could do. I know I can't fit everything that I want to do here. Philadelphia is just such a marvelous city, isn't it? There's so many things to do, so many sights to see. Beautiful architecture, beautiful layout of the city. I just love the flags of the world. I'm starting to feel like jogging, running. You know why? Because we're at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Now, why would you want to jog or run when you're at the Philadelphia Museum of Art? Well, have you heard of a film called Rocky? Actually, it's a series of movies, and it all entails the life and story of an amateur boxer turned professional through a little bit of luck, but a lot of hard work. I guess the theme of these Rocky films is the story of the American dream, where if you really put your heart and mind to it and give it a little bit of luck, you can be successful. That's exactly what the American dream is. There's a scene in the first film where Rocky, the protagonist, is running, jogging as part of his training. And he eventually makes it to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And he makes it to the top of those steps. So oftentimes actually, you'll see people imitating what happened in the film. Running, jogging, whatever you want to call it, up these steps to the top. Rocky films are so entrenched in Philly culture that there's even this. Look at that. Rocky Balboa, hero of Philadelphia. I don't know, these steps look real daunting. And I'm no athlete. Sure, we've done a couple marathons, sure, we've climbed a couple mountains, but these steps, I don't know, these might be the ones to tackle me. Oh man, am I exhausted. After setting up a mini tripod at the top of the steps, only walking up this top flight of the steps, just to pretend I walked through it all, I am just exhausted. On the contrary though, we get to see this beautiful view of the Philadelphia Museum of Art and another amazing view of the city skyline. A lot faster down the steps though. That's always what it is, right? So we visited the Delaware River. This, however, is another river within Philadelphia's influence. This is the Schuylkill River. Now, the spelling of this river may confuse a lot of people, but it is, I assure you, Schuylkill, the Schuylkill River. On the other side of that is, well, West Philadelphia. You know, the one Will Smith was born and raised in. Yeah, that's West Philadelphia. You can't really see it from this bridge because it's obscuring the view, but West Philadelphia is on that side. On the other side of the Delaware River, however, that was the state of New Jersey. We were looking at the area around Camden, New Jersey. Oh, look at this. Much better view. And there's a spiral staircase so we can go down. Oh, look at this. Much better view of the mighty Schuylkill. This river, the Schuylkill, starts way up in eastern Pennsylvania, but a lot more north, just below the Pocono Mountains, and it flows all the way until it reaches the Delaware River in Philadelphia. So this is a major tributary of the Delaware River, and another river that the people of Philadelphia really take pride in. Really done a lot today, and as action-packed as this video has been, we still have one more place to visit here in Philadelphia. I'll take a cheesesteak.
American Poblano
Whiz.
onions.
Yep. Thank you. So, we are back at the station. There's the map of the whole system of the SEPTA. It's actually quite a fascinating system. But yeah, that was Reading Terminal Market. It was a train station and they converted it, I don't know when, but now it's this big marketplace where you can get not just, you know, your market items, but you could also get a good bite to eat. And it's just a fascinating place. I got lost for a couple minutes trying to find the place I wanted to go. And where I wanted to go was to get some authentic Philly food. What's the most iconic Philly food? It's probably a Philly cheesesteak. Now this is the goodness that's a Philly cheesesteak. You have the bun, which is, I guess, an ordinary sandwich hot dog bun, but then you have the ground up beef and onions, and I think hidden in between the meat is all some sort of cheese whiz. So I'm at a train station right now, so it may be a bit difficult to just give you my description of everything. So I'd rather not make a public display of my dinner tonight at a train station. But what I can say, luckily for us, I have tried Philly cheesesteaks a numerous amount of times. I have family near Philly, and any chance I go down around here, I indulge myself in a Philly cheesesteak. And what I can say is that it's absolutely delicious. The meat, the steak, has an amazing texture, and it tastes like the most gourmet piece of meat you can find. But that all depends on who makes it and all that. And then there's the cheese, which adds some sort of savory kick to the sandwich you're eating. It's amazing. So I would definitely recommend, if you visit Philadelphia, you need to get a Philly cheesesteak. That concludes our jam-packed day at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It really is an amazing city to visit, and dare I say, I think it's better than New York City. Don't go in the comments saying, no, New York's better, because I know in my own heart, Philadelphia
always will beat New York.
But yeah, what a way to round out a good 9,900 locations to conclude the year off with none other than Philadelphia. So, sitting right here at the SEPTA station in Philly, Southeast Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, here in Philadelphia. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.